Hi, I'm Kimberly Foster, the founder and editor-in-chief of For Harriet. I am here with Abby Ishola of Beyond Classically Beautiful. So we are continuing our series of live dialogues about the most pertinent topics about Black womanhood. I really wanted to talk with Abby because I'm a huge fan of Beyond Classically Beautiful. I love what she's doing. She's done a really incredible photo series that really is meant to highlight the diverse beauty of Black women. And of course, that's something that I am always absolutely 100% behind. So thank you so much, Abby. How are you?
I'm amazing. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. So I love from the moment that I learned about Beyond Classically Beautiful, I was obsessed with it. I love it. So how did you come up with this idea?
Well, I'm sure you know about the New York Times article that referred to Viola Davis as less classically beautiful than Halle Berry and Kerry Washington.
Right.
So, of course, that was deeply rooted in colorism and comparing Black women, and pitting Black women against each other. So for me, I was a little annoyed because colorism is a deep issue for me. It's something that I had to deal with growing up. So it struck a nerve with me. So I went on Twitter to see what women were saying. And I was so excited to see all the women that were posting their photo with the hashtag less classically beautiful in solidarity with Viola Davis. I also posted a photo, but after I posted my photo, I felt like it didn't feel right attaching the word less to a photo of me. And I felt like it didn't feel right for other Black women to do the same. So as I'm scrolling through the Twitter timeline, I'm like, this would be an amazing photo series. My husband's a photographer, so we're always thinking of new ideas and new ways to take pictures and showcase the beauty of Black people. And at the time, I had just started a style blog called Scripts and Sightings. So I thought this would be a great blog post if I did, a nice series of photos of women sharing their stories on how they've overcome things and how they've come into their own identity. So I put together a team. I found a few women that I think are beyond classically beautiful. My cousin, who is an amazing beauty stylist, came on board, and my colleague, Dwayne Ferguson, who's a great videographer, shot the behind the scenes video, and we put it together and we put it up, and it just went viral. Something I wasn't expecting, but it happened, and the rest is history.
Yeah, I think I would absolutely expect this project to go viral because I think that Black women are almost starved for positive representation or true representation of who we are.
Yeah.
There are people like, I believe her name was Alessandra Stanley in the New York Times who wrote that article, who just completely get it wrong. And unfortunately, the people who get it wrong have access to these huge, incredibly influential platforms.
Exactly.
And so it's so important for us to take on the role of creating our own images. How did you choose who was going to be in the photo series?
Well, like I said, at the time, I had been blogging. I was doing a lot of street style for the blog I had started. And my target was Black people. I was going around Brooklyn, sometimes Manhattan, taking pictures of beautiful Black people and showcasing it on my website. So I met so many women along the way, and some women I connected with, I kept their contact information. So a lot of the women in the first series were women that I met and I photographed for my blog. Others were recommended by my cousin, and there were a few women that were just friends. And it was really, really, really organic because all of the women said yes. Nobody came late. Everyone came ready and happy about the project before they even saw anything from it. It's like the spirit of it spoke to people. So I say to this day, it was the easiest thing I've ever done and I've ever put together as a journalist.
Absolutely. Kind of flies in the face of those old myths that Black women don't support each other.
Exactly, right?
Yeah. So what does it mean to be beyond classically beautiful?
Well, we all know that the stereotype of a classic beauty is, blonde hair, blue-eyed, skinny. To be beyond that, I say, is to go beyond what that is, whether it be from within, from without. I think Black women are, we're so diversely beautiful. We come in several shades, our hair textures, and all of it is beautiful to me. So the word beyond just made sense, and especially replacing the word less with beyond. I thought that was just powerful. And it was something that I don't know, it didn't really take too long to think about. You know, I called my husband, I told him about it, and he was sold. So I think that being classically beautiful is old news. You know,
Right.
let's be beyond that.
Yeah. You mentioned that those Alessandra Stanley's ridiculous words kind of struck you personally. Is there kind of a backstory, or what's your relationship been like with beauty or beauty standards?
Well, I am the daughter of Nigerian immigrants. I grew up in, and I was born and raised in Miami, Florida. And growing up in Miami was really interesting. I never really felt beautiful. I felt that my dark skin wasn't appreciated. And, you know, now that I'm older, I know that this is not something that's just concentrated in Miami or the South. But I felt it was a little bit deeper there. And then coming to New York, I started to come into my own a lot more. I started to appreciate being African. I started to appreciate my complexion, my hair texture. So yeah, that was something that I struggled with a lot as a child.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And how did you move into loving your beauty and embracing it as an adult?
Well, it's tough. You know, even to this day, I have moments where I'm like, you know, I still feel like the little dark skinned girl who wasn't celebrated. And funny enough, I wrote an article about that for beyondclassicallybeautiful.com and how we can overcome these childhood wounds that tend to follow us, you know, and lurk behind, you know, the women that we become. So it's been a ride. I would say now I'm 90% in love with myself. You know,
Right.
I have my
That's
days.
a good ratio. That's
You know what I'm
good.
saying? You know, like I think I'm beautiful, and I think that I love being dark skinned now. It's who I am, and also having the name that I have. Abimbola is my full first name. It means born with greatness. I feel like I'm living that now, and when I look in the mirror, I embody it. I feel like that is who I am. So those are the things I had to come to terms with to see my beauty for what it was.
Absolutely. I think that's a really great story. I also
Thank
really
you.
appreciate that you said 90%. Like
You
that's
know,
real. That's real.
it's true.
Yeah. And I think a lot of us aspire to be 90% comfortable with who we are and our bodies and what we look like. And so that's definitely motivational. So sometimes when we talk about to maybe diminish it or dismiss it or minimize the importance of understanding and knowing that we are beautiful. So I'm interested in your thoughts on why it's even important to feel yourself as beautiful.
I think it's important to feel beautiful because it affects the way you show up in the world. It affects how you present yourself, how you move, how you speak. I think even if it's from within, if you're a person that looks in the mirror and say, well, you know what, I don't fit this standard of beauty and I accept that, that's fine. But I think that we have to at least come to a place where we love ourselves from within, especially first and foremost, so that we can be the full and beautiful women that we are out in the world, and we can present ourselves the way we really are and what God really made us to be. So I think that's why it's important, because it could affect you in so many ways. The way you show up at work, you know, whether you speak out if something happens and you don't agree with it, like those are the things that beauty affect.
Absolutely. The way that you show up in your community, like you
Yeah.
mentioned.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what do you hope to get from this project?
Well, it's an ongoing project, and we just launched beyondclassicallybeautiful.com. And we're going to be basically doing the same thing, doing the ongoing photo series. And right now I'm doing something called Real Beauty Moments, where I go out into the street, I take pictures of women, and now I'm asking questions. How do you feel about yourself? Was there ever a time that you had to really face your beauty and, you know, embrace it? You know, those are the kinds of questions I'm asking women out there. And I really hope that women, Black women, see that I love them. I want to be a champion for Black women. I want Black women to have a place where they can come, just like for Harriet, and feel welcome and feel appreciated. I'm on a mission to make Black beauty at the forefront, in a sense of not just the way we look, but what we're bringing to the table, the fact that we're business minded, the fact that we're inventing things, the fact that we're strong, the fact that we are behind Black Lives Matter. You know, those are the things that I want to put out there in the world about Black women.
Yeah. I love the idea that you're talking about, that beauty is not just about your physical appearance, right? Like you can radiate beauty from the inside out. The work you do can be beautiful.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that is so great and so amazing and so important. I am a huge fan. We've already gone over the fact that you've gotten some incredible positive feedback, but I'm also sure that you've gotten some detractors, some negative feedback. So what type of pushback have you gotten for this project? Or wait, I'm assuming maybe you haven't. Have you gotten any negative pushback?
Well, it's been mostly positive, but there were a few comments when it first went viral. It was on Elle.com. And there were a few women, white women on Twitter, that felt like, why is she just talking about Black beauty? Why aren't we talking about all women? And of course, we hear that all the time when it comes to anything that has to do with catering to Black women. And for me, I feel like Black women need these kinds of movements because of what the mainstream puts out, especially when it comes to us and how they portray us. You know, it's necessary, you know. So that's what I say to women like that, or people like who think like that. But that's about it. I mean, I haven't had any negative feedback. Most people are in love with the concept. They love the fact that it was put out there to the world, and they appreciate the fact that people are catching on to it and love it.
Right. Well, listen, the ahistorical white women always try to pop up and derail, and right. So you just gotta keep it moving past that.
You know.
So what have you learned in the process of creating the photo series and also launching BeyondClassicallyBeautiful.com?
Honestly, it's been like therapy for me. Going back to what I was saying about, you know, dealing with colorism and coming into my own, I've had to face the fact that, yes, there are still a lot of things that I'm not over when it comes to my childhood, and, you know, specific things that happen that I still kind of think about every now and then. You know, going out there in the world and talking to Black women and seeing that a lot of us share the same story, it's not only comforting, it's also validating. It makes me understand that my pain is real, but it's not something I have to hold on to forever. You know, this has been therapy. It's been therapy first and foremost. And that's what I would say I've learned. I've learned from, you know, women like you, women like the women that I stop in the street, you know, just doing research for articles. I'm learning so much about what it means to be a Black woman in America and appreciating being a Black woman in America.
Absolutely. I love the best thing about the internet for me, I say this all of the time, is that it makes it so easy for us to connect and learn from each other and do that in public. And I love that we can just share the love and share our joy in those ways. And thank you for being a vehicle for that. Really. Thank you so much. Well, that is going to be it. Thank you so much for joining me, Abby. Be sure to visit BeyondClassicallyBeautiful.com. The photos are absolutely beautiful. The work that you're doing at the site is really vital and important.
Thank you.
For anybody watching, you can always connect with me at Kimberly N, as in Nicole Foster, at that's my Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat. Feel free to send me an email at kimberly@forharriet.com. Be sure to visit the site because we do work every day. And thank you guys so much for joining us today. Bye.